Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Everybody, hello. I hope none of you are smoking fentanyl right now because it's copy that time.
Don't allude to what we were just talking about.
No, I shall not. Hello. So here's the deal. We are going to do a Whetstone Wednesday, a Wednesday that is also a whetstone. The only Wednesday that is also a whetstone in all of human history. What does that mean? It means that we specifically, the three of us, a Rod, an Alex, a Sean, we are going to look at copy that was submitted by Patreon supporters to copy that. We are going to look specifically at the copy, see what's working, see what's not working. And in particular, today, we are going to be looking at the entrance for a sort of a contest, more of an open offer that we have, which is we specifically know that y'all are copywriters and that you want work. We are also copywriters and we have too much work. And so we have a series of product pages available on our website. All of these need copy. As you can see, there's no copy here. And so what we want is for you to write us copy and then for us to pay you money, specifically $150 if we accept the copy that you've written for this for publication. Now, we've had a lot of entrants and we've had a lot of people submit to us. We've actually paid, I think, 3 people this $150 for their copy. I'm hoping that today, by the end of today, and we have a finite amount of time, that we are going to pay the 4th and possibly, not guaranteed, the 5th person for copy that they've written. What do you guys think about that?
Sounds great.
I don't
love
know.
paying people.
I don't think we should give money away because then there's less for us.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, listen, like, how can I make sure that my butler is living in the lap of luxury if I don't have $150 that I'm earning through an entity that I share with 3 other people and which also has not paid off any profits yet?
Or how do we buy fentanyl? You know, there's a lot of questions.
I think that Copy That should make a hard pivot into the fentanyl dealing business. Cap that or clip that because, you know, you heard it here first. This will be Copy That.
Okay, there's 2 things. YouTube monetization and also just the FBI. And I feel like we should discuss those things in depth at some point. We definitely don't serve them well.
True. It's true. We definitely could have more fans and make more money if we stopped making jokes like that.
Yes.
So anyway, we are making a hard pivot into the fentanyl business. You heard it here first. Anyway, we have some questions. What if I'm not a Patreon? Well, then you can't watch the masterclass that you're going to write copy about. So you would just be writing words and making stuff up. That would be stupid. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
I want to see some DIC. We all do. Where do I submit? I'm in Patreon. Well, you person, Rahman, you need to connect your Discord account to your Patreon account. Then you will get fancy green characters in your. You'll get access to exclusive channels and stuff like that. So, hi everyone. I hope you're having a great week. I hope you're having a great week so far.
TLH.
Can we submit if we're not Patreons at the moment? If you're not a Patreon supporter, for one, I'm not sure how you're going to watch the masterclasses that you're going to be writing copy about. And 2, to keep organized, we are keeping all these entrants in a Patreon only channel. So like there's just layers to this. Like, yes, we want to pay you. Yes, hypothetically, you can like buy the individual masterclass, email it to us and stuff like that. But also that would make our lives harder. And I don't know about you guys. I'm more inclined to shell out 150 buckaroonies to people that make my life easier. So anyway, why don't we get started? Because we have specifically one masterclass that has attracted, I believe, 4 or 5 different entrants.
Wow.
This one, a Rod one. and the formatting is completely jank. This is
What's
completely
happened?
jank formatting. Something broke in this process. Okay. I'll need to fix this at some point. But as you can tell, we've paid minimal attention to our website because that's not how we make our money. Do you provide us with the product description to write the mechanism? No, you watch the fucking masterclass and you write the product description yourself. I'm not going to provide you with a product description. We want to pay you to do work. All right. So as you can see, we have a little bit of like just filler copy. This is a Rod masterclass. It is, what are you getting? One full-length video delivered automatically to your email. There's also a secret bonus lesson. I forget what we queued up in there. This class is also available on our Patreon, which you can see here. There it is. Look at that. And then it's just 51 minutes of Rod being amazing. Look at that. Look at that. Actually, Rod, I'm glad you're here for this because we have so much copy to go over for your own stuff.
Nice.
So, anywho, let's look at the first submission, the gladiatorial combat, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 descriptions for the same product, your product, Rod. So you get to be the decider of what you accept and what you deny.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know what? To make this, agreed. To make this more fun, Sean, I think we should take turns picking which ones are our gladiators. So, like, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which one do you want first? You get first dibs.
I don't know. I think I'm going to have to go with Rod on this one. I think Rod is going to be my gladiator.
Oh.
Don't I win, though, because I already made the masterclass?
So he just wins.
Just automatically.
Okay.
I got a good feeling about 4 and 1. So come on, guys. All right. Should we read these out? So, Rod, you can...
Really quick. Will there be any paid writing opportunities like this soon? I'm a Patreon member who did not submit, a beginner who scared themselves out of an opportunity. Don't listen. The whole reason why we're doing this is for a few reasons. 1, we know you want to learn how to write copy. 2, we know you want your copy reviewed. 3, we know you want fucking money. 4, we want copy and we want to pay you money. So why not fucking just hop on this, just jump on it, just ride this opportunity as hard as you can. And, make that money. It's your first opportunity to actually like get vetted as a copywriter and earn money for your work. Now, let's actually go. And so the answer is yes. And also this is an open opportunity. So if you go to our, copythatshow.com, hey, let me, it's this thing. It's this webpage. If you just go there and just look at the products that do not have a product description already for it, that do not have copy, bingo, bango, you know that you still have an opportunity to do this. Okay. Now, this is the first one. Can everybody read this out in the chat? Hit a Y in the chat if you can actually read what's on my screen.
You know what's weird, Sean, is on my screen, it's like the page is fine, like on my computer.
Okay.
So, don't know what that is. Don't know if you're at a weird responsiveness setting.
I want money. Sorry, I was ready to run through a wall. I'm calm now. Why? We got some Ys. We got some Ys. Wonderful. All right, Ys. Let's look at this. So, standard format for a product description that we've been using. And I'm going to show you a specific example of how this should look. We've got the title. We've got some teaser copy up top. We have some of the basic facts. That's all the top copy. Then we have a headline. And then we have a little bit of what you could call a lead that explains the benefits or, sort of contextualizes this for people. And then we have bullets related to specific minutes and any image that you want to present as well. This is copy that we have paid Patreon subscribers for. And so if you do something like this, seems pretty simple, right? It's less than 1,000 words of work. So here we have the similar format. We have the title, we have the images, we have the teaser copy. Missing some of the details, but it's okay. We have headline, lead, bullets. Now, let's actually read the teaser copy. As a copywriter, it is critical that you understand you don't get paid to write. You get paid for creating and selling ideas. If you learn how to consistently come up with good ideas, you'll multiply your chances to hit a home run and make some big bucks. Join Rod in this 33-minute masterclass and learn everything you need to know to bring unique ideas to life. What do you guys think of that teaser copy?
It's okay. It's not. I think the idea I see behind it is pretty good. Some of the language I would change, but it's like clear this person has an idea about like what it is they're trying to communicate. I think hitting very early on, like it's not this, but that is a good way to grab attention. But there's some fleshing out that could be done.
My big thing is I want you to double down on the idea that you present in the first line.
Yeah.
Like that's like what Rod said. You're basically playing with expectations. And what is that? It's kind of a fleshed out bullet is kind of what you're doing there. Like you're pretty much saying, hey, you think you know this thing about copywriting. You don't know this thing. Like what is the point of this masterclass? It's to create unique copy angles, which isn't like actually for us, for nerds, it's exciting. But if you're just looking to get paid, it's not actually a very exciting topic because like you want to be told, hey, you need to write exactly in this way. So if you completely shift the frame into, you think that it's just about writing, you think it's about following these, but like, no, it's just about these ideas. I would go a bit harder on that instead of launching straight into, like, oh, you multiply your chance to hit a home run and make some big bucks. I want you to tell me like why that's the case a bit more. Really get that bit across because I need to be convinced that, right, I've been told X. If you kind of follow that first sentence on with, you've probably been told to do this, and to do this. Nope. If you want to go into that next level, then X. Like, that's what I would say.
Yeah. My big issue with this, and this is an issue that I have with certain types of copy in general, which is multiply your chances to hit a home run and make some big bucks. We have a cliche followed by a vague statement. And if there's one thing that I know for a fact about copywriting, it's that cliches, they can serve their purpose, but for the most part, these axioms, these idioms, these adages, these figures of language, they don't translate well to the average person. I think hit a home run is pretty safe, but also at the same time, what does that actually mean? What does it mean to hit a home run with an idea?
And what does it mean specifically for someone who's new and doesn't have a ton of experience? Like if Sean, you're talking to me and like, oh yeah, this idea was a like really big home run. I have a sense of like what that means to you and what that might mean in terms of how it performed or like how good of an idea you thought it was. But if you're brand new, it's like, okay, does a home run idea mean that it sold a lot? Does it mean that it's just like really unique or that my client liked it? How does that translate into some benefits that I might actually receive as the copywriter? So that needs to be clarified.
And also, this is like Rod's just hit on a point which when I did a Whetstone Wednesday the other week, and I was critiquing a few product descriptions, and the one thing I kept saying for each of them is that it wasn't obvious who you had decided you were writing for. Like we've just dived into this, critiquing it, assuming that you're writing for someone who wants to earn more money and is a beginner and is excited about copywriting. Like, yes, of course, because of the audience copywriting attracts, that's a lot of people around, but that's not necessarily the people you need to be targeting if you're selling a masterclass like this. Maybe you're targeting people who are already copywriters, who want to understand how to unlock better, or are they stagnant? Maybe it's advanced people who actually would just be fascinated with the idea of what Rod has to say about unique angles. And I'm not saying any one of those is right or wrong. I'm just saying consider that. For everyone watching this, when you look at a masterclass, consider who you're writing it to first. Don't just assume this needs to be about making more money. Not saying it shouldn't be. I'm just saying don't assume it should be.
Yeah, listen, let's be real for a moment. Like your first job as a copywriter is probably going to be like, hey, I will pay you $10 to write this one sentence intro for 1,000 like cold emails that I want to write. Go. what does a home run mean in that context, as opposed to, like, say, a social media creative for, I don't know, a butt massager. Like, a home run there is too vague, and we're sitting on this for a little too long. I want to move on, but I really want you guys to start paying attention. Like, as you reread your stuff, actually go over what you write and ask yourself, what does this even mean? This thing that I wrote, what does it actually mean? And then what you're going to be able to do from there is drop out all of your vague and sort of like cliched language and replace it with much more powerful, specific language. That, I think, is going to benefit everybody who's watching to this point. You are all going to have a much better time as a copywriter if you do that. That is a Sean MacIntyre guarantee, in that I don't guarantee it at all.
I want to say one last thing on that. And that's, this isn't just important to, like, it's not just important in this context. And this is not just something that beginning copywriters struggle with. Like, I've been mentoring some people lately, and these are people working at, like, really big, fancy ad agency, even, who, like, do work that gets published in places that we see it. And, like, even for them, there is this tendency to write things that sound good or feel good to write, rather than things that are convey ideas very clearly. And that is not good a lot of the time, because just because something feels or sounds good doesn't mean that, like, the person who's going to read what you've written is going to interpret it in the same way. And those sort of, like, cloudy, wispy, like, emotional things, like, that feels good to us, or like, oh my god, that was, like, such a, like, good hit, might just get interpreted as confusing, or I guess just, like, clunky to somebody who is, like, not the person who knows all the things that you know as the person who wrote it. And so being mindful of that across the course of your career, and something that you're constantly going to have to, like, reckon with, is a really important habit to build up at the beginning of your career, rather than getting, finding some success and then hitting a wall because you can't edit properly.
Rod?
Yeah.
Are you trying to say that people should write for their audience?
Yeah. I met this really great coach once who told me that, and it's just stuck with me ever since.
Oh, are you talking about the double A's?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is, and I think we should move on, because, as you said, Sean, we've spent too long on this section already. Let's go.
Just for the sake of clarity, listen, write for clearness. Elegance will emerge from that, not the other way around. So let's go on to this headline. Master the art of idea generation that eliminates your blank page syndrome, makes your copy unique, and helps you charge more dollar symbols.
Don't say that.
So here's the test for assessing a headline. There's two litmus tests that we can apply to this. The 4 U's: is it useful, urgent, ultra specific, and unique? And then there's the CUB, or CUBA, or CUBE. Like, a lot of people try to vary this. I'm going to go with the OG, just CUB. Fuck your A's and fuck your E's.
Yep. Whoa.
Is it confusing, unbelievable, or boring? And so let's ask these questions.
Mm-hmm.
Is this headline, does it feel useful to somebody arriving at this?
Yes.
I would say it does. I would say it's not useful, personally.
I think it eliminates blank page syndrome. I think it's something that if people know what that is, I think that will be useful to them.
An interesting caveat there. Would you mind expanding on that?
If you don't know what blank page syndrome is and you read this headline, you will be like, huh? But if you are someone who knows what that is, and you do struggle with, like, seeing the blank page and starting to write, then you're like, oh my god, that's a problem that I want to solve. So
yeah,
the question is, does your audience know what that is?
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Makes your copy unique and helps you charge more dollars?
They're generically useful. I mean, maybe
it's generically useful.
Yeah.
Would you say that it's urgent? No, not urgent. Would you say that it is unique?
I don't know.
Alex, what do you think? On a scale
No.
from 1 to unique.
No. I mean, this could be about anything. The only thing that's unique within there is idea generation, which is the point of the page. So its uniqueness is lost in the sense that, and that's why I also just as a caveat to go back. That's why I also don't think it's useful, because within the context of the page that this is on and who it's targeting and what's already been said, this does not give me any. This does not build on what I have come onto this page to look at. Why I have read on this effectively. This effectively is a fluff statement that is, again, full of genericism.
Yeah. Will you scroll back to the top for us like 1 second? So it's Yeah, because I think too, like if you want to roll with that headline, the first part of the description needs to lead into that in a way where it does feel like an expansion of that idea. I think that's a good point, Alex.
Yeah, some coherence would be exceedingly helpful here.
Yeah.
I don't want to pile on. I'm going to agree. This headline, I give it a D+. Because I see what it's doing is master this thing that provides these 3 benefits. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the thing. That structure of headline is so overdone and so bland that it's fairly ineffective. I'm sure it will work for greater than one person, but really what you want to do is you want to look at other headline structures, other phrasal templates that allow you to like really focus in on a specific thing that confers a specific benefit, ideally one that is useful and compelling. And by compelling, I mean, urgent or scarce or what have you. But urgency is the one U that you can always sort of like leave off. It's not the super necessary U. The super necessary U's are unique, ultra specific, and useful. And uniqueness can be the second one to go from there. So D+ headline. We can move on from there. You don't need. Would you guys give it a higher grade or lower grade or?
I mean, I was going to give an just to be helpful to the person who wrote this when they watch it. I was just going to give an if statement for how you may improve this.
That's what this is for, dude.
Which is why I thought I might do it. So imagine if instead of writing that, you instead picked out one specific benefit, kind of exactly like Sean has just been saying, and you highlighted that as the thing. Now, I would argue that if you, and I'm going out on a limb here, even if you chose one of those benefits you put in your headline and you focused on that, I think it would be a stronger headline. I think if you just put never experience or never suffer blank page syndrome again, and then, I don't know, some parentheses, because I love my parentheses, underneath it, leading on to this is why you should read the body copy, something that instigates a sense of momentum as to why they should read below and why they're going to get that usefulness out of the page. Like, that would be a stronger headline. Like, if you had to stick with one of those ideas, I'm not even going to tell you to generate a different idea. I think if you had to stick with one of those, then I think being more specific and then gathering momentum for what you want to say next would be a better way to approach that headline.
Mm-hmm. It's also lower stakes too. You don't have to make this huge sweeping statement about everything.
Yeah. So a common question that we get is about angles. What is a copy angle? What is a copy hook? Okay. So this is a good opportunity for me to just give a quick little spiel about angles. If you are going for a headline and a lead that's mainly about eliminating blank page syndrome, that's one angle in. Ease. The underlying subtext there is ease. Easiness of production. Makes your copy unique. Okay, what's the angle there? It allows you to stand out. Okay, that's a different angle. Helps you charge more money. Ah, greed, my favorite angle. That's an entirely different angle in. So that's 3 different angles. One of the reasons why this is confused and failed the U test is because it's trying to do what a lot of juniors and newbies do all the time, which is say and list out every fucking thing that they can think of without paying attention to, like, okay, one angle, one hook is going to be more powerful than an amalgam of them. So that is something that you guys need to think about. Choose your angle carefully. What do you think is going to be the most powerful entry point, the most forceful point of ingress into this piece of copy? That's what your headline is. What are these words that I'm even using? People don't even know. So that is what I would want to say about this. Classic headline template, or going back to the phrasal structures I was talking about earlier. Classic way of doing this. Master this thing that provides this benefit, M dash, without common pain point associated with that benefit or that thing. You'll see that structure everywhere. And it's one of those best by test things where it's like it worked in 1930 and it's going to work in 2030. It just works. So, guys have anything to add about that?
No, I feel like we should move on again because we're already 26 minutes in and we haven't even got past the headline of the body section of the first one.
So let me, all right, because I'm going to declare myself the Bob Barker of this game. Is he dead? He might be dead. Never mind. I'm going to declare myself the Alex Trebek of this game. Oh, fuck. No, he's dead too. The Pat Sajak? No, Christ, he's dead too.
Bob Barker just died too. It was August.
I know.
Who are these
I
people?
actually legitimately didn't mean that.
Oh man, if he made it from December, he would have hit 100.
Now, name a game show host.
I don't know any of these people. We don't have American television over here.
Okay, I'll be the Sean MacIntyre of this game show.
Okay.
At any point, either one of you can hit an abort button and say, we're not going to take this piece of copy. Go work on the things that we talked about, and we can just move on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
All right. You don't need to be a master of creativity, nor a super skilled, seasoned copywriter to be able to generate good ideas. Just 1 minute is enough to get you on the right path to writing unique copy that sells and gets you paid more. Of course, to come up with good ideas, you first need to know what an idea is. Did you know that Merriam-Webster gives you 7 definitions?
I have to stop here. I've done this before. I did this when I was a beginner. I promise you I did this when I was a beginner. I hate the cliche of, did you know the dictionary describes something as X? I use that in the thing. I cannot stand it because I used to do that and think, man, how clever I am. It's not clever. It doesn't add anything. That's the main thing. And I'll say this for the I really don't want to be horrible, but I'm going to be the horrible one of this one. I'm going to be like the Pol Pot of this stream.
Jesus Christ.
I know him.
I don't want to be the horrible one. I'm going to be the Pol Pot of the stream.
No, I want to be the horrible one. I want to be. I'm not saying
you want to be. I was like, that's a terrible example.
I'm glad that Lindsey's not on the stream because imagine how much more unhinged and off the rails this would be if it were all 4 of us. We just, you person watching this, we encourage our worst instincts among each other. That's why we're friends and why we own a business together. So with just the 3 of us, we've been referencing fentanyl and
genocide,
things and genocide. I've used the F word too many times for this to be monetized ever. So we just lost a bunch of money, $10. $10.
Yeah, I was gonna say not much. Okay, just I'll stop. I will rip this apart slightly, but it's only because I love you, person who wrote this, and I want you to be a better copywriter. And you're doing nothing differently to what I did 4 years ago. Okay, already in this, the only thing that you have said that really has any weight to it in this first introductory thing is just 1 minute is enough to get in the right path to writing unique copy that sells. That's really the only line that has any kind of weight to it. everything else there is pretty much fluff. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be there in different contexts. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that right now I cannot identify what the thing you're trying to get at is. You're kind of jumping around from thing to thing. You've said you don't need to be a skilled copywriter to generate good ideas. Okay, cool. So we're assuming that I already want to generate good ideas. Like that's the first thing you're assuming in me as a reader. I've decided I want to be able to generate good ideas. You don't have to convince me that that's the right thing to do. Then you're moving to, okay, it's really easy to do that. Okay, makes sense. You're kind of building that up. And then it comes to, but now you need to know what an idea is. There could be 7 dissonants, but do you know are these? And it's like, so I simultaneously know that I need to generate good ideas, and want to, and now you're telling me like, but do you know what an idea is? And I feel like you're going down a path of trying to be clever, when actually it would be far more impactful if you were just direct about the single thing you wanted to get across.
Yeah, and it complicates the question too. And so you're adding a whole new line of inquiry. Like the person, like, do I need to think about this thing? Do I need to know about it? Do I have the bandwidth to learn about it?
Yeah, like I love I love the in itself as a tactic or a technique, or what you want to call it. Like I love that you don't need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love that as a technique, because it's great. Like it works. Like don't need to do this, don't need to do that. We call them not statements. So effectively just disqualifying the wrong people and saying like, don't worry if you don't know this. Like you don't need to worry about that. That's great. But then you bring across the point, which is that third line that you're trying to establish as your important line, which of course could be made better anyway. And then you just veer off of that. And it loses me. And I then stop reading.
Yeah. One thing I'll say too is, the reason this person is saying the dictionary thing is because I use that example in the masterclass to make a point about like what the exact work is that we're trying to do when we talk about ideas. And one thing to keep in mind when you're doing things like product descriptions is that you don't need to outline everything that's in the product or say every little fact about the product in order to like write a good description. The goal of this is to incentivize someone to buy the product, not to like actually teach them about everything that's in it. And so if in the course of writing the description, you find yourself writing things that are like not actually super closely tied to the point, the sales argument that you need to be making, cut them out.
The difference between teaching and then persuading someone to buy the thing that teaches.
Yeah. I have long said and advocated for the fact that the moment your copy starts to explain things, the moment your copy has become terrible. Good copy doesn't explain. Good copy evokes, provokes, entices, surprises, delights. But the one thing it should never do is explain. Like, whoa. And somebody in the chat is gonna be like, Sean, what does that actually mean? Nobody knows what it means. It's provocative. That's the point.
let me add one addendum to that, which is don't take that literally. If you're explaining for the point of to prove something, for example, that's fine. But the thing that Sean is saying is that it shouldn't just turn into a lesson about something that they need to understand to get your point. It needs the explanation in and of itself needs to be useful or eye-opening to them. It shouldn't just be, you need to understand this thing to get this next thing, so I'm going to tell you it.
Alex, you didn't need to add that caveat because it gets the people going. Never apologize, never explain. Sometimes apologize, sometimes explain.
No, yeah, we shouldn't say it depends. That's a New Year's resolution for 2024. We're not going to say it depends anymore. We're going to give straight facts.
That's the only thing I'm going to say. Those 2 words every single time. How do you feel about this little cred section? Listen to Rod. If there's something he's good at, it's generating unique ideas. No wonder he's the mind behind Nike's 2023 Women's World Cup commercial. And when Rod talks, you should listen.
How do I approach this? You should be very careful when you make factual claims, just in general, because if you do not check with your sources and get detailed information, you may end up saying things that are not factually correct. And so, I personally, as someone who worked on that campaign, would not feel comfortable saying I was the mind behind that campaign.
I thought you were now the CEO of Nike. I thought that's what just happened.
Okay. Well, I guess I am the CEO now. But even the CEO wouldn't be the mind behind the campaign. Like, what does it even mean to be the mind behind a campaign where you have like dozens of people working on it? And so, like, I would feel comfortable saying that for one of the spots, I led the strategy that informed the creative that produced the commercial. I would never say I was the mind behind the commercial. And so that's not to say that you're terrible for writing this, but you're very wrong when you write this. And so if you want to say things like this, definitely make sure you're checking with sources and getting language from them that you can fully understand and use in the copy you write, because otherwise people will be like, don't fucking say that.
Yeah, it's making claims about credibility often strains people's reputations.
Mm-hmm.
And people, if it's one thing people love, it's Chick-fil-A chicken biscuits and their reputations. Those two things mainly. And so, like, when you start messing around with people's reputations, like in print, it really riles them. Even if you're trying to write the best copy that you possibly can, people get really like, about it. So you really need to make sure that you're making the strongest claims that you can, but also making sure that you're doing that within the parameters of what they're comfortable saying about themselves. So.
Yeah. And this is not like just this person who's done this, because I've actually had a few people reach out to me like, oh, can you give me some credibility points about yourself, or like what kind of like metrics or whatever do you have? And it's like, I'll give people like general stuff, and so like the impulse is correct to be like, oh, what makes this person credible? What can we say to make this person a compelling like guru, basically, to be behind this copy? But the way in which you leverage that information needs to be very careful. I'll also say that like you don't have to be super specific to be convincing. Like anyone who's ever gotten a YouTube ad for like copywriting guru of the month is like, they're like, oh yeah, I made all this money, and never say exactly how or whatever. It's like, it's the trappings of the credibility that actually sell the product, because people who really want the products don't care so much about the specifics. So yeah, like just don't, even if it's good to look for the credibility, don't feel so burdened by that you end up saying super specific things that no one wants to publish.
Good advice. Now, question for you both. Mm-hmm. Should we hit the abort button on this piece of copy and move on to another for the exact same product?
I do think we should, and the reason being is I think we've given enough of the opening of this to show that what the reasons we would not pay for it. Like, even if the bullets are the best bullets ever, and they might be, but also we've done so many things on bullets.
Yep.
Like so many things, and you should be able to tell now what we'd say.
And where can people view all of our materials on bullets?
Subscribe to www.youtube.com/copy that. Thank you for that prompt.
I'm so bad at the plugs too. I need Kyle here. He's much better at plugging than I am. So we're not going to. Yeah.
This one is true though.
It's true.
This one is true.
Absolutely true. I love that.
One. There was a comment way back I wanted to pull up.
Yeah, please do.
Justin asked, if I join the Patreon, do I have access to all the information, or do I have to purchase some of the courses or masterclasses? I'm pretty sure that all of the masterclasses that we have up right now are free on the Patreon. And so if you sign up for Patreon, you get everything plus all the other stuff we have on Patreon. So
yeah, there are a few masterclasses that we don't have pages for that are in like either the Copy Career Accelerator or the Ultimate Guide to Marketing Strategy, and those are not for sale outside of those products. But we do have, I think at this point, 18 masterclasses in the Patreon.
Really? God.
Yeah, many of which are have a page on the thing. But here, let me show you guys a thing that I recently did. Patreon has this cool feature. It's called collections. You can see on your screen how much money we're making for Patreon, which is barely enough to pay for editing. But look at this. Masterclasses. Also, I collected all the interviews that I've been doing. So if you go to masterclasses, you can see, hey, look at this. All of the various masterclasses that we've done. Every single one. With a few exceptions that you don't need to worry about. But this is, oh God, how many hours of this? Over 20 to 25 hours of just like deep dives and master classes and just really in-depth material on a variety of subjects that we were constantly adding to. Alex this week released his how to write a landing page masterclass, which, you know, I watched at least half of, and it's helpful. No, it's actually really, really good. It was when he actually started showing like, this is my process and giving you like a real over the shoulder look. I was like, I can skip this part. I don't need to watch another copywriter write professionally.
Yeah,
I need to do that myself.
That was fun. But yeah, that was I actually just in that one. So I released that yesterday? And Sean, you helped me as well. You have 16 minutes, solid 16 minutes in there of talking, which is awesome.
I'm good at that.
And he loves that. We all love that. But yeah, in that one, I just write a real landing page from scratch. I think it takes me like an hour and a half, something like that. So you just see me for an hour and a half, and I'm narrating the whole thing. Like I'm not just writing, so I'm talking through my thought process. So hopefully that's useful. I also just found out that you can edit other people's name badges on like StreamYard. So
yeah, it's true. Hold
on. There is not a particular sequence. Watch whatever you want.
There's a lot.
Yeah. So for real, one of the reasons why we started doing like paid courses like the CCA and the Ultimate Guide to Marketing Strategy is because, like, you know, this copy that it's our hobby. Like, we all work full time. And so we aren't sitting there being like, okay, we're going to make this really crafted, really curated experience. No, we're just like, listen, we're thinking like for the YouTube videos, we're just like turning on stuff like this is going to be helpful for a newbie. And then we go, okay, what would be helpful for somebody who's not a newbie? Somebody who's like, you know, actually needs like more hand-holding help, more in-depth insight from our professions. And then we just turn on the camera and then we just talk and prepare presentations for like an hour to 3 hours long. And that becomes our master classes, just basically sharing everything that we can possibly know without really attention paid to like splitting it up or like making it more accessible, which maybe that's a flaw. That's a flaw.
Well, Sean, you know what we probably have coming early 2024?
Oh, what do we have coming in 2024?
I think in early 2024, we may have coming a behemoth, nay, 4 behemoths of free courses. And then other courses, which are far more advanced, which we put... I cannot tell you how much effort and time we're putting into these. Like, we started making these like a couple months ago, and these are not going to be done until like January, at least. They're going to be good. I hope you guys are looking forward to them. I've already scripted some of mine, and it's already 26 pages of script, and I'm only like halfway done. Yeah,
and that's just 1/4 of what we're doing. Yeah, we wanted to create a course that was like from soup to nuts, beginning to end. Like, this is the basics, like how you write copy. Like, you don't really need to buy a book. You don't really need to buy a course. Here it all is. Like, everything that you would need to know to actually start making money copywriting. And the reason why we're doing that is because I will be honest with you. I don't want to be in the business of showing testimonials from like 14-year-olds and being like, hey, you know, look at the success that these kids are having. That's some groomer shit, and I don't want to do that. And so, like, I would rather just like put stuff out for free so that people can actually make money. And then, like, if they want to get more in-depth stuff, they're like, oh, well, that's a cool brand. Let's give them more money and learn from them. That's the goal here.
We are far less direct response in our own business than we are in others' businesses. Well, I mean, this business. If I was like this in my other businesses, I wouldn't have food.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
The only reason why this works is because copy that is really just our side thing. Yeah.
Imagine doing this Imagine if we did this full time.
I would conduct this business so differently. I'd be emailing people every single day. I'd like have a new promotion going up every 2 weeks.
Videos every day, every other day.
Yeah, videos,
every video
like, every other day.
How to make money.
Shorts every single day.
we'd make the same video every week.
Oh yeah, like every single video would be some iteration on like how to get clients in like 1 hour, or like how to make your first $1,000 in 30 days. Like every single video would be one of those two things.
$100 a day, $3,000 a month, $36,000 a year. Just change the dimensions to have the same order.
But because you publish a lot of free stuff and you say it's really valuable and you give people black and white answers, people love you for it. Teenagers love you for it. And if you're a teenager watching this, we are not belittling you at all. I was a teenager not 3 years ago.
God.
I was doing copy 3 years ago. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was. Please do not get sucked into a get-rich-quick scheme of someone who is trying to groom you for your money.
Yeah. It's
like, do it for free first and then earn money.
Yeah, please. I don't want to take money from kids. Just take our free stuff, go start earning money, and then like when you turn 18 and you have like steady income coming in, if you want to learn more from us, we're here for you. But beyond that, don't spend money on this shit. Like it's out there. You can make it.
All right.
Oh boy.
No, that's the only good one. Don't, because that's gonna get clipped and used somewhere. All right.
Something like that. All right, let's actually look at this. So this, guys, let me remind you, it's the same product. It is the broken, janky Make It Rain Masterclass.
Fix now.
This is just so broken. But this is the copy. Now, top of the page. As copywriters, we aren't in the business of writing. We're in the business of creating and selling ideas. Okay? In this world, the only thing worse than testing a bad idea is not having any ideas at all. All right?
Okay, that's my line. I wrote that.
Kill the blank page syndrome before it kills the hopes and dreams of your copywriting career. End this irrational suffering with just a few dumb tricks.
Ooh, okay.
Raise the odds to find the perfect copy angle. Turn your copy into an untiring conversion machine, the one that pays a yearly salary in a single shot.
Can't say that.
Yeah. 3 simple gamified methods is all you need to find unlimited fresh copy angles. No creativity needed. Presenter, it's you, Rod. Time, 33 minutes. Unadvertised bonus, and it's also on our Patreon.
I'm gonna say something, and it's something I alluded to before, which is that I think I actually estimate that 4 of these we're gonna look at are gonna have the same problem. Is I still don't know who this is trying to sell. Like, it's really confusing to me who this is being targeted at. Is this being targeted at someone who wants to make a load of money? And is it being targeted at someone who had never written copy before, who has written copy but they're struggling, who's worried about blank page syndrome, who has clients and they're fearful of like delivering? I don't know. And that might be because of the nature of the masterclass. It may just be like a broad masterclass that is meant to be like, hey, this is fucking fun and it can be applied to so many different things. But in my opinion, your job, if you're selling this, is to focus on one of those things and be like, this is how it's going to benefit you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Here's the thing. Let's take one step back. It could be a copy problem. It could also be a product problem. Who do we think the target audience for this is?
Well, who did you write this for?
Well, I'm kicking it to you guys first.
No, I'm not saying it if you put an M on the end. Who did you write this for?
My mom.
What? Don't have a go at me. Who? Okay, whom did you write this for?
Ooh. It sounds like a real question when you say it like that. Who did I write this for?
There you go.
I wrote this for the person who's like, how do I not say the same shit over and over again? So probably like not a complete beginner copywriter, but someone who has enough experience that they know sort of like how to write a copies, but they don't know how to not write the same copies as everybody else.
Sean?
I think that's exceptionally valuable and very valuable to know, because here's the thing. The intermediate copywriter that is at the stage where, yeah, they're putting copy out into the world, but it's not really unique. Like, they're encountering the limitations that ChatGPT has, which is it's not producing anything like new or novel or exciting or fresh. And they're like, okay, but like, how do I break out of that? How do I like really have something that stands out and feels different? Because that's where real money starts coming in, when you can actually present something as new and different and relevant. Sorry, Alex.
That's
so,
okay.
But here's the thing that I immediately observe about that. If you are at that stage, is one of your biggest concerns blank page syndrome?
Probably not.
Probably not. If you are at that stage, are you... Well, I guess you do want an untiring conversion machine, but I don't know if that's going to be necessarily connected. But yeah, that's the big thing that I have, which is like, what are the problems that somebody at that stage actually faces? And it could be a desire for more money, a desire to like start creating offers that are more appealing to less aware audiences, things that feel fresh. It could be a desire to simply change things up. The person who would buy something like this, that ideal prospect, what they're wanting is not a hack. What they're wanting is not an easy fix. Killing blank page syndrome, I would lump into that. I suspect that what they desire is a spark of perhaps how to manufacture creativity so that they can stop generating the same things over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think?
I agree. In my mind, this is what I have right now when I picture this person who may buy this. I picture someone who wants clients because they already work with clients, and I bet they have the addiction of having clients say, "Oh my God, you're the best. Like, this is great." That is what I picture in my mind, and I think the person who this would be best aimed at, as to not be, you could easily write a copy of this and say this is the key to writing money, to making more money, because that's what every other guru Yahoo does. But I think selling this in a genuine way would be along the lines of, oh wow, in quotation marks, like how on earth did you do it again? Like something like that. Having it like each client I write for say this about my copy is fantastic. Like I never let people down, or like I haven't let someone down in X years, all because I know how to generate unique ideas that they don't see their competitors use at all, or they don't see anywhere else. That is what I think is probably going to be the driving desire of the ideal prospect of a masterclass like this. They want that gratification of having someone else go, "God, how are you so good at this? How are you so creative?" I think they look at people like Rod, and they look at people like Sean, who come up with like such cool ideas and who work for crazy companies, and they're like, I want the respect that you guys have that people seem to have for your copywriting abilities. That's what I think this would be best suited for.
So you're saying the benefit here is less tied to ease, less tied to money, and more tied to personal validation, like personal how should I say, conviction in one's own abilities, things like that?
I think so. I think this is an internal thing. And it's still an external in the sense of they want people to recognize that they are a good copywriter. Potentially, you do feel like your copy is a bit hollow and you can't quite get that spark that you need to create these big ideas. Even leading with something like, are you confused about what a big idea really is? Like, this is how to consistently come up with them. I can't remember if the masterclass is about that specifically, and if that's irrelevant, then don't lean into it. But like that kind of thing, I think would be more effective, and we could target it and advertise it far more easily in emails, for example, because we could say, look, not for beginner copywriters, not about making more money. And just us, I think, saying those two things would probably get a decent number of people go like, oh, what is it about then? And the people who are maybe at a point where they feel like they're more self-respecting and they feel like, oh, I'm not just doing this for an easy thing. This is a long-term game for me. Like, I want to know everything. I think this would be more appealing.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, it is, I think, a common trap to assume that people buy for a very finite number of reasons. That something pays you, that something, makes your life a little bit easier or more seamless or frictionless is a word that I like a lot. But people buy for all sorts of reasons, like including silly ones. And one of the books that I like a lot that goes into this is he lists out the various reasons why people actually buy. And I've shared a number of these in masterclasses before. I don't think I'm going to be able to find it very quickly, but people buy for reasons related to like wanting to be respected a little bit more, or wanting to feel validation, wanting to be in on the joke. People buy because they want to feel sexy. People buy because they want to feel desired and desirable. People buy for all sorts of reasons. And I think that what Alex is trying to talk around is a lot of these product descriptions are they're running into a trap, which is they are writing in a vacuum. They are not writing to one reader. And because they're not writing to one reader, they lack that singular idea. This is a masterclass about ideas, but they're all like about a whole bunch of different ideas. They obviously all have a specific objective, but it's that lack of like a focused reader that I think is tripping people up.
Yeah.
Agree.
Do you guys want to press on, or should we hit the abort button on this?
I feel a bit bad moving on so quickly from this one because I feel like we've only looked at the very top. Can we flip this on its head and go to the very bottom and see how it finishes, like near the CTA?
Yeah. Finding unique copy ideas becomes a simple, easy game once you know how to play it. The impact on your work and paychecks will be undeniable once you master this practice, and it will be a skill you can rely on for the rest of your life. Don't wait. Order now to get started.
Again, this becomes fluff copy to me. When you analyze each of these lines, what are they really saying? Let's actually do that right now. Finding unique ideas becomes a simple, easy game once you know how to play it. Like, okay, you could argue that's highlighting the ease of this, as we've said, whether ease is the right thing or not to go into. We've also discussed, but nothing wrong with saying that this is simple. The impact on your work and paychecks will be undeniable once you master this practice. Is that actually adding anything?
Yeah.
Not really, because you're implying that through saying that it's all easy. And again, with each line, it's the specificity. Impact on your work and paychecks will be like, okay, what does that mean? Tell me what it means. Show me. And it will be a skill you can rely on for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Again, like, fine. That, and as its own sentence is like, okay, cool, I can rely on it, but what does that add to the copy? Is that actually giving another layer to anything? It's no, like it isn't. It's something again that is implied. People don't really sit there and be like, oh yeah, I'm never going to lose this. It's going to be with me forever. Like that's not really something that gets people excited. So again, it's just a kind of a generic phrase that isn't adding anything to the copy. Don't wait, order now to get started. And like kind of basic CTA. So again, of that, I think you could maybe say maybe 2.5 lines are doing anything. I think only one of them really is doing anything that's impactful. The thing you need to look at when you're looking at your own copy is this justifiable having at the bottom of the page?
Yeah. For me, like, I have one thing that I said before, I don't think I've ever said it on stream before, is that, your copy is not a life support system for individual lines. If a single line can't survive on its own and be impactful, you should cut it. And what I have found is that for a lot of fluff copy, somebody had an interesting portmanteau of this. I think it's
Poor
too far
man's
back
toe.
in chat. A poor man's toe, yes,
Okay.
which I think is an acorn. But yeah, this is fluff copy. One thing I do like that we sort of glossed over is that it included actual evidence, like testimonials, like from the comments of the masterclass. That's really cool. That's social proof. That can't be anything but specific. I love that. Good job. But a lot of this is just falling into that problem of, it feels fluffy, it feels unspecific, it feels like it could have been written about really any masterclass from any person ever, and not this specific thing. Yeah. So blank page syndrome is the nightmare of every starting copywriter. This feeling of worthlessness and desperation after being stuck so long waiting for it kills the most aspiring, full of potential copywriters. Great copy ideas are the true edge abused by the richest copywriters in history. What do you guys know about edging?
Oh no, it's not as fun as it sounds.
Correct.
My ex would say not enough.
What do you guys think of that opening?
I think based on our conversation, the blank page angle is probably not where we should be going with it, and so
yeah,
it falls a little bit flat for me.
Guys, either of you can hit the abort button on this. Okay.
Sorry if that was loud.
No, that was totally fine.
It sounded less like a coat hanger than I expected.
So, quick takeaways, really quick. Focus in your product descriptions or any of your copy on one specific reader. Like, find out what is the thing that they value the most, that they are afraid of the most, that this product will appeal to the most. Make sure that each line of your copy is crafted such that it's specifically about the thing and that you can't just have it be about anything else. And then also really focus on making sure that your ideas are coherent, that you are really striving to speak to one specific emotion, one compelling emotion. You can touch on other emotions along the way, subtextually, but really what you want to focus on is one compelling idea, one compelling angle, and one really emotionally compelling pull at the prospect's heart. Mm-hmm. All right. Same product, another piece of copy for it. So again, you both have the ability to hit the abort button. I would like to hit the abort button immediately because it's not formatted correctly.
Ooh.
Boom.
And the hard truth is that copywriters are not paid to write. These were the very words uttered publicly by a successful copywriter who is directly involved in Nike's marketing. Rod, I think he's talking about you.
Oh, he's talking about me.
Less than 2 minutes into this powerful masterclass, this copywriter made that shocking statement and claimed he and everyone else who considers themselves a copywriter gets paid to do one thing, and that is to create ideas, and not just any ideas. Unique ideas for every kind of copy in the world, even simple email opt-in forms. I'm going to stop there.
Say your piece. Sorry, there's just a part later on that made me laugh. There's a bit that just says, "But this is not just another copy that masterclass, like all the rest of shit." That just makes me laugh. Just kind of trying to do the opposite of what we. Let's please write a product page like that. It just says, "Don't buy any other masterclasses.
Don't buy any of other shit. It's all trash."
There's an optimistic reading of that. That's like, oh, of course, the typical copy that masterclass is chock full of information, or whatever. But this isn't even like that. It's one more level higher. So maybe they mean that they're all so wonderful and great. And so, as a faithful viewer, the person reading this page might be taking for granted how useful it's going to be, but they need to be paying it its due respect because it's even more useful than our average super useful video.
Stop always trying to see the good in things, Rod. Be a pessimist for once in your life.
I just don't want to feel like a joke.
This is cynical chat. Yeah, so I try to avoid line editing in these because what's more important are the ideas and like the function structure of things. But one thing that I'll say about this that jumps out at me immediately is that if I have to take a big old breath in the middle of a sentence, that sentence is too long. You know, I did the for dramatic effect because that tells me as a reader that this is a breathless, overly long sentence. You're going to lose people in the complex thread of clauses that you are trying to weave. And so one thing that I would really recommend to everybody who's watching is that you really, as you go through and revise stuff, really try to break up your sentences into things that are lengths that are really manageable, really palatable, easy to consume, like for the eye, because it gets difficult otherwise. So
I have a completely unrelated question. I want to talk about this Nike thing. And I specifically want you guys' opinion on this because stuff like this first line where it's like successful copywriter who's directly involved in Nike's marketing. That sounds a little. I don't mind phrases like that so much because it's like, oh, there's this intrigue. Oh my God, there's a brand name associated with success. Yada yada yada. It must be good. So that kind of makes sense to me. But then lines like Rod (parentheses) who creates ideas for Nike sounds like I don't like this much because it just sounds kind of corny. And so there's like a level of like which when we're incorporating credibility, there's a way to do it where it's like it can be useful, it can be interesting, but then there's also a way to do it where it's just like kind of cheesy as fuck. Where is like, do you guys have a similar sense of that?
I think perhaps because it's talking about you.
Oh.
You are being overly modest. I personally don't have that, like specifically what you're talking about. I don't see it. I think it can potentially, it's maybe clumsily worded.
Okay.
And it could like be worded slightly better. But Sean, you may have a different view. I don't know.
Oh no, the wording is terrible. And the reason why the wording is terrible is because it uses double passive voice. Here, follow along. Were uttered. So what passive voice does is it flips the object of a sentence and moves it to the subject position of a sentence. So these were words that were uttered by a successful copywriter. So how would you rephrase that sentence so it was not in passive voice? It would be a successful copywriter uttered these words. Already it feels a little bit more clear, right?
Yeah. Don't listen to Sean, guys. Don't listen.
But it doesn't stop there. Who is involved? So that's passive voice number 2 in the same sentence in Nike's marketing. So a successful copywriter, and who, all your WH words, those are what are called reference. They replace other words or other phrases. So the who here is a successful copywriter. So we can just plug and play a successful copywriter to where who is. So a successful copywriter is directly involved in Nike's marketing. So yeah, it becomes super confusing once you try to like unpack grammatically what's happening here. And so how would we rephrase that just for a line edit? And the hard truth is that copywriters are not paid to write. A successful copywriter for directly involved in Nike's marketing uttered these words. There you go. That's the same sentence moved into active voice. And it already sounds a lot better, right?
Yeah.
But it's using the same words.
So just write good is what you're saying.
Just write more good.
Just write more good.
So like that whole, everything that I just did there, all the people who managed to like not have their brains melt while I was talking, all that I did there was move some words around, and all of a sudden a sentence that felt very cumbersome, very mealy, that caused Rod a lot of like deep, unsettled consternation. All I did was move some words around, and bingo bango, the sentence became much clearer and also much more comfy for Rod. But I still use the same words. So that's something that you person watching, you need to pay attention to. Like, reading your stuff out loud is going to help with that a lot, and just being attentive for these small things. Another thing that I did in rewriting that sentence was pay attention to like how I could omit the verb to be. So were, is. The moment you start looking for those words and like looking for ways to rephrase a sentence so that you aren't using them, that you're using more powerful language, your writing will get better, like instantly. That's a Shawnee Mac guarantee, and that I don't guarantee it at all.
So you're saying that the words were rearranged by you, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah. No. So is it always be active, pass on passive? Not necessarily. Passive voice has a function. And when it's used well, you don't even notice it at all. Here, we notice it very quickly. So in terms of this, let's move on and actually talk about the ideas of this.
Mm-hmm.
Inside this very masterclass, Rod, who creates ideas for Nike, explains why this is the case, why unique ideas are important, I guess. If you're trying to dress a boring product in interesting copy and overcome your prospect's objection to being sold the same old stuff, or you want to level up your copywriting, that is, write a higher quantity of higher quality copy. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so people can actually see. Then you must watch Rod reveal the very simple system he uses to generate new ideas and create intriguing copy angles. But this is not just another Copy That Masterclass. In this special 32-minute... I want to stop here. How are we liking this so far?
Again, it's explaining. It's assuming a hell of a lot, and it's explaining a hell of a lot. If you're trying to dress a boring product interesting copy and overcome your prospect's objections to being sold the same old stuff, like, that is opening up a line of thought that I don't fully understand yet. And it makes it difficult to read. Also, I love parentheses, but there are 5 sets of parentheses on this page. That's crazy. That's crazy numbers. That's like, it feels like, and I'm not saying that, that could be a fine thing. I'm not saying that's going to make copy bad, but the reason I'm pointing it out is because parentheses are often used to like cram in additional ideas that you want to get in, but you feel like you can't get in. I'm super guilty of this anyway, and I have to catch it in my copy. But I do it worse. I do it in messages all the time, and it's because when I'm writing messages, I'm being quite a lazy writer, and someone just needs to know they like me, hopefully, if I'm messaging them, so I know they're going to read it, and it just helps me break up a sentence. If you're doing it a lot and you find yourself doing it a lot in your copy, it's probably because the idea that you're trying to write towards is not as dialed in as it should be. Just an observation, because it's something I had a lot of trouble with.
What's the famous quote? I apologize for writing you a long letter. I did not have time to write you a short one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Heavy compression could be useful. Focusing on a single reader and a single, like really captivating emotional idea, I think would be very useful. It's trying to sell people immediately on the notion of unique ideas. It gets a little explainy and it sort of like falls a little flat. So like for that reason, like I would hit the abort button on this. Like, I don't think that we're going to take this. It's not really working yet.
Yeah.
Now we have been pooping on copy quite a bit. I want to show an example of copy that we would accept. And so, I'll give a specific example.
While you're pulling that up, I do want to comment a little bit. I think one line I like there was they were talking about like coming up with unique ideas or whatever for your work. And one thing that would be helpful for people, and this was not the case when I did this masterclass, but it is the case now. It's like literally my job now is just to come up with unique ideas and angles. And so if you want to talk about like my credentials as somebody who works on Nike stuff, like talk about like the idea stuff. Don't just say, oh yeah, he works with this brand. Be like, oh, he does, like the thing he's doing for this brand is the thing he's teaching you to do in this masterclass. So, free tip.
Yeah, that's instant advice right there.
Yeah.
I pulled up, this is something that we paid for. So somebody got $150 for this. Somebody who might be watching, actually. Get the S, a masterclass on writing product pages. So, this writer had a big think and sort of understood the reader. Like somebody who wants to learn how to write a product page is a different prospect than somebody who wants to learn how to generate unique ideas. Somebody who wants to write a product page just wants another arrow in their quiver that they can pull to make money. So this is a money-making style of product. Product pages. Demand is high. There are over 12 million e-commerce stores in the world. Everyone needs a page for a product. Ooh, interesting, compelling fact. Product pages have a direct effect on your client's sales, meaning you can get good money if you do them right. $450 per page is a common starting point. Instant implied benefit there. Also feels very factual. You don't need to be a master of persuasion. Product pages are incredibly easy to write once you understand their secrets. Presenter Alex Myatt. Okay, so already that teaser copy working really good. Loving it. It's great. It's writing in facts. That's my jam. Love it. Headline: master the little known copywriting skill that can earn you $450, $750, or even $1,000 per page.
Wow.
Yeah. Look at how simple and straightforward and direct, but also masterfully good this is. It is. What is it? It's a little known copywriting skill that has this specific benefit, that has one surprising element attached to it: a single page.
They didn't capitalize the word that.
Well,
abort.
Delete this page. It's over. Now, this opens with something that Alex said that he loves earlier. You don't need to be a master of persuasion to be an in-demand e-commerce copywriter. All you need is to make it easy for customers to say yes to buying something they already know they want. Boom! How is that for an opening? It's pretty good.
This is okay. So I think here's a little theory. I think good ideas often come in pairs, and I think that it's because of how we think as humans. I think it's this, therefore this. If this, then that. Right? That's the kind of way we assume things happen. And something I love about this page, and this was the page I was thinking of earlier when I was critiquing, I think, one of the first or second page, was that the whole point of this page is saying, hey, you can earn a lot of money, and it's not as hard as you think. Like, this thing that I really love, and this other thing that's a surprise. Like, benefit, surprise. And that surprise is what makes it so believable, because it's not only makes it feel easier, which is great, but also the writer is using effectively what we call gradualization to start you with a fact that is immediately believable, that you agree with, which is there are more than 12 million e-commerce stores. That's easily believable because there are a lot of stores. And then everyone needs a product page. So 1, there's 12 million stores. Yep, okay, I believe that. 2, everyone needs a product page. Yep, definitely, that makes sense. Then 3, but there's a really, really easy way to write these product pages. So now you've kind of been like, oh yeah, God, no, okay, that makes sense of why there'd be a lot of money here, because there's a lot of them. Oh yeah, and then I think it goes into how a product page makes money for the client. So then it makes sense to be like, okay, and it's in demand, so that makes sense. And then you're telling me there's actually an easier way that you're thinking to write these. Well, now I'm invested in the story and I want to hear what it is. And it doubles down on that by starting with a not statement of, don't worry if you don't know loads, you can still do this thing. Great introduction.
Great copy. Because we have been persuaded by these bullets. So now we are primed. The pump has been primed to get more information.
We have been thoroughly edged.
Jesus Christ. Time to cancel copy that.
You said that so many times.
I know. So yeah, I brought that up because I wanted to illustrate for you all, 1, that we're not just messing around. We are actually paying people for this. But 2, we are trying to pull from you better copy. The whole point of this exercise is to help you get better, in addition for us selfishly to get copy, and also for you selfishly to get paid for it.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to get you to do is to think like a copywriter, to think like, okay, what is the angle of approach? What information do I reveal first to accomplish these things and get people ready for these ideas?
Mm-hmm.
That's all part of this. It's a very delicate process. And the reason why a lot of people who like just start sort of squander and like flail a little bit earlier in their careers, because they haven't really figured out that most of the time they're just writing fluff or copying from ChatGPT. They don't understand that like there is an architecture to persuasion. So
yeah. And another observation is that, and it's really clear when you look at what that last page was doing really well, is that a lot of the things we've read today are doing what is often a good technique, but that's starting in the middle of the story. And so if you go back to the other page that we were just reading before, not this one, that one. If you start like with a quote from the middle of the masterclass, and then you start talking about, oh, he was saying this, and then you start talking about the masterclass as this very like present thing, jumping to it immediately. Someone who hasn't already been persuaded on the value of a masterclass or the value of like the premise that you're trying to set up has to do a lot of work to catch up and get to the point where they're being persuaded by what you're saying. Whereas with the page that we paid for, it's like they are saying the things that establish the conditions such that you can believe what they're saying as like within the copy itself. And so I think everyone whose copy we read today, consider going back and thinking about, okay, what are the things that might be useful for someone to hear before I start trying to tell them about the value of like unique ideas in copy. Like, could you give some sort of fact about how so many pieces of copy are the same? Could you like scroll through some like, I don't know, like some Amazon product pages and be like, okay, look at how all these things use the exact same headline complex, and how great would it be to stand out? Like, you know, go do some stuff like that and just be like, show people like, oh my God, there's this huge value here if you're willing to go for it, and then jump into, and here's this technique that's going to help you like grab that value.
Imagine one of these product pages. Mm-hmm. After the headline, I'm not going to mess around with the headline. Imagine first line. Here are 5 headlines from 5 landing pages. One of them sold over $1 million. Can you guess which one it was? And then show like from pages, like actually go out into the world and pull from pages, like generally the same idea. You can even do this with you know, Tim Ferriss's The 4-Hour Workweek, just like because when 4-Hour Workweek came out, like there was a proliferation of like, you know, how to outsource your job, how to like, you know, get virtual assistants in Philippines and stuff like that, kinds of products, how to do outsourcing. Yeah. It wasn't until like none of those products really did very well. And there was a lot of them. There were a lot of books that were all released around the same time. But it wasn't until the 4-Hour Workweek came out that it was a breakout idea. Like all of a sudden outsourcing was cool. Nobody wanted it. It was a niche sort of like nerd dorky thing to do. And then 4-Hour Workweek came out and I was like, oh crap. Like, well, this is all the rage. Everybody's talking about it. And so like, I would do something like that. I would legit open with a quiz. Which one of these was a multi-million-dollar idea? And people should be able to recognize it instantly because, you know, like a, you know, flash in the sky, ideas that are compelling and emotionally compelling just stand out. Like if every single one of those ideas was like how to outsource your job to the Bangladesh, how to make money by outsourcing, how to use outsourcing to, you know, stuff like that. The instant you get to the 4-Hour Workweek, you're like, oh, holy fucking shit. That's amazing. So,
yeah.
Sorry.
Abort.
Abort. All right. So we are saying no to this, and then we have one more of this. How do you guys feel about doing 2 more? I know you both are exceedingly busy, so I want to be. I also have to pack because I'm driving to Florida tomorrow.
I have to go in 3 to 8 minutes.
Okay.
It's so specific. I also
speed
have to realize
run.
I need to pack my house up.
We're all packing.
Are you moving?
I'm moving. I get keys to a new place on Friday.
Nice.
So have a new background soon.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because the moment you move, I want to help you like kit up like a little studio space for yourself. I'm excited.
Oh, I think you said
Yeah.
kid up. I was like,
Sean's giving me some positions.
Oh my god. Speaking of which, like the business has a little bit of money, so like if you guys want to like upgrade your film and
Definitely.
production and
I want
audio,
to fix my audio. I want to get a big light box and a green screen so I can be in environments around the world. All right, we should go because now we only have 2 to 7 minutes.
Okay. Make it rain. Masterclass in generating unique copy ideas. Perfect. If you want to be an in-demand copywriter who wows clients and brings in more money, knowing how to generate new ideas is a skill you can't ignore. Every single type of copywriting needs ideas. Yes, even email opt-in forms. Great ideas don't come out of nowhere. It's a simple process you can master today. Bringing fresh ideas to your clients will generate more work, set you apart from the crowd, and fill your bank account. Thoughts, really quick?
It suffers from the. Go back and watch the critiques we just did. It suffers from the exact same problems.
So we legit. This was not the plan. We were hoping to get through more. We just happened to have 4 of these submitted at the same time. I would love to go through another one after this. It just depends on the time. So these bullets, this intro suffers from the same problem that we've talked about earlier. Let's just jump right to the headline. Learn the eye-opening secret most copywriters don't realize early enough in their career. Thoughts?
it's almost good.
Okay, cool. Specificity, like,
Yeah.
what is it? Like around. Cool. It's great. It's a secret. Like it's intriguing. Like I do want to know what it is, but around what is the secret going to help me do?
Yeah.
Make it useful for me.
What is unlock? What's it like holding back?
Yeah, I mean, my big gripe with this would be, could we like Control X and like paste it into another of our master classes, like say email sequences?
Absolutely.
Therefore, it lacks ultra specificity. So yeah, it has intrigue going for it, but it's lacking that specificity, and it's as a result, it's lacking that uniqueness. So if you want to work with more clients, make more money, and spend less time doing it, you can't skip this masterclass. Why choose an angle when you can choose all 3?
Yeah.
That's good advice.
Do you find yourself in a state of panic every time you need to write an email, landing page, advertorial, sales page, or Facebook ad? The realization that you know how to write, but you don't know what to write. What if that process could take minutes instead of hours? With the simple methods in this masterclass, you'll be generating multiple fresh angles and ideas. Take the simple deck. Disruption, intrigue, click, email method. Disruption is the key. What?
I like it for that line. Take the simple dick.
We're gonna pay just for that line. No, I'm joking.
We did say we're going to. It literally, the title literally says we're paying someone $150 today, so we need to do that. But we didn't say a patron. We just said someone. So like, does anyone like need a plumber or I don't know, buy some Warhammer figures?
Let's look at a different one. So I mean, really quick, let's just sum up, because this could be a synthesis of other things that we've talked about before. This is not persuading in a very compelling way. It feels like it's written for not the correct reader. The headline is intriguing, but bad intriguing, like vague intriguing. It's not ultra specific to the product. And then the lead is really focusing on just like this, like scatter shot, put as much buckshot into the sky. Hopefully you'll hit a duck, philosophy of writing a lead and spelling out benefits.
I actually like the focus. Like if just commit to the panic thing. Like if that's like what you think it is, just commit to that and like cut everything else from it. I don't know if I think that's what this is or what this should be, but like it's clear that like that the way that sentence was written, it's clear the person knows how to write a sentence, and so just like see what happens if you explore that idea.
Yeah. Rod, should we press on, keep reading? Do you want to accept this as the copy that will be selling your stuff, or shall we kick this back and say revise?
Kick it back. Don't spend all the time describing the dick.
Yeah, avoid over explanation. I want to jump because Coop is in here.
Okay.
We have this. Okay. Core idea, storytelling and how it engages your reader for beginners and intermediate copywriters. So FYI, that is a product description specifically for the Spark That Sells, an advanced masterclass on using storytelling. Okay. Now, here we go. The action, get the reader that. Core emotion, frustration. Interesting. Copywriting magic, captivate your audience with compelling stories. Not sure if I love that as a title. And also it seems to be lacking that the top portion of the product page. So keep in mind, James, when you're writing a product description, Amazon, it's the same. Most product pages have the same format where you have teaser / like, this is what this is copy, followed by like copy that actually sells in a compelling or persuasive way. And it's all sort of interconnected. So it's missing some crucial components. So it's automatically disqualified for that reason. But let's actually look at the copy. Advanced Masterclass in Storytelling Copy. Does your copy suck? Have you spent time and money listening to other copywriting gurus who claim to have that big idea when it comes to copywriting? I can already imagine that you have spent many hours writing that perfect piece of copy, pouring your blood, sweat, and tears into it, only to find... So, weird sentence jump there. Only to find that when people have read it, they say, so what?
Damn.
That's when the doubt starts to set in and you just want to give up. Does this sound familiar to you? Stop. What if I was to tell you that most beginners and intermediate copywriters get to this point in their writing because they haven't thought about this one simple key ingredient: storytelling? What do you guys think of that?
Okay. I'm going to give another thing, which we haven't said too directly yet, which is that let's think about the context of the funnel here for someone who's coming onto this product page. Likelihood is that if they see this product page, they're going to know it's about storytelling. Like, they're either going to know that in the build up to it, i.e., because they've seen that it's about storytelling, like through the title, or they have been sent there because someone's recommended, like, oh yeah, storytelling really good. Do you then need to spend the whole time convincing them that storytelling is a good idea to put into your copy? Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that at all. I think it's fine to reinforce, but spending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines doing that straight away, like, compare that again to the e-commerce page, the product page masterclass we looked at. That took 3 bullets, like, to do that, or basically 2 bullets to kind of show, like, yeah, guys, this is why it makes sense to know this stuff. And that's the kind of thing where if someone said, hey, if you want to make money as a copywriter, go and buy that product, it makes sense. Saying, if you want to make money as a copywriter, go and see this, and it's about storytelling, it doesn't make as much sense. Again, it's one of those products that if someone wants to know about storytelling, they will buy it, as long as you show them why this is great to tell you about storytelling. And, like, it's gonna... For me, this is one of those things which it's pretty obvious why someone will be buying this product, to learn more about storytelling. You don't need to convince them that storytelling is a good thing. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. Especially for an idea like storytelling, where people have an idea of what it is, even outside of a copywriting context, you don't need to explain what it is. Maybe you can dive into, like, a unique mechanism of storytelling as demonstrated in the masterclass and be like, this is, like, the key to storytelling, but don't explain what it is.
Yeah. One concept that we don't really talk a lot about is it's called product market fit. And which is to say that, like, if you have a product that is ideal for the person who's on that page, what do you need to say? Communicate that simple fact that there is a fit between what this product has and what this market needs. And depending upon the stage of awareness and stuff like that, you might need to approach it a little bit differently. But oftentimes, especially with product pages, you can get away with just simply spelling out very directly in a very succinct way, hey, you know, we can let's swipe the successful thing and actually do a copywriting. Get the yes. Okay. Storytelling is an overlooked way for newbie copywriters to stand out from other people trying to get jobs and get paid well for doing it. Hey, I just did a swipe. And then how would we change this? We would change this to
boring ads are everywhere.
Yes, long form copy is still in demand. And then you would say, like, there are over X million offers on ClickBank, all with 30-minute plus VSLs right now. Every one of them needs a sales letter, and each one of those sales letters can be driven by a story. Oh, I just did a copywriting. That's I'm literally swiping something that's successful and then changing the words, almost playing Mad Libs a little bit and fitting what I'm trying to sell into this particular template. Storytelling has a compelling, persuasive effect on your readers. Notice what I did right there. I just replaced the noun with the thing that I'm trying to sell. Meaning, you can actually get past even the most skeptical of prospects with a good story. Do you guys see what I'm doing here? Like, I'm taking a successful framework and I'm live spinning out new copy based on this other thing that I'm trying to sell or build persuasion for. And so by doing that, that's just one way to use a swipe. And of course, like, once you write it all out, you want to go back and you want to revise it so that it's not like a one-to-one, like, this is obviously this other thing. What you want to do is you want to look at and see, like, okay, for whom is this ideally going to? Or I guess it would be, to whom is this ideally going? That would be a grammatically correct way of saying that sentence. And then you really want to focus on, like, okay, like, who is the right person for this product? What is that product market fit? And then what do I need to say to illustrate that clear connection between the person reading this and the actual product? If you can figure that out, you can write product descriptions like for the rest of your days and make a ton of money. That's a Shawnee Mac guarantee.
Finish the line.
In that I don't guarantee it at all.
Thank you. All right. On that note, I do have to go to a meeting, so I'm a dip. Hopefully
Rod, it was very nice seeing you and very good catching up.
Yes. Yeah, I'll be around. We have to talk about Portland and everything else, but
we will talk about the dating scene in Portland in ample detail.
Thing. Oh God. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Peace, guys. Rod. See ya.
Bye.
Take care, man. Alex, what other advice would you give to this particular copywriter?
Honestly, I think that so this here's a point, and you can apply this to any copy. So Sean, you spoke about swiping. I'm going to speak around writing long copy for the sake of it, and this is based on a fantastic conversation I had the last time we did one of these streams, or maybe the time before, where I was reviewing one of these. I think I was reviewing regular copy, and someone he had two versions, the guy, and he said, and there was a longer version, and it was kind of story based, and there was a shorter version, which wasn't as story based, and it was more kind of to the point. And James, who we're reviewing this for, he said, so more concise and straight to the point. And like, that's not a rule. Like, I'm not saying just, to get straight to the point, because I think that that advice can be inferred very badly. What I mean is that you shouldn't be using more words than you have to get your point across. And I think what this is doing, like just from the top, is it feels like it's kind of spinning out a narrative for the sake of it. Like you're saying, have you ever done this, and you've put all your time into it, and then your readers say this, and then you feel like you want to give up. Does this sound familiar? And I think it's because you've seen other copy do that, but they were doing it for different products, and they were doing it in different contexts. So what I mean is don't just kind of, because you've seen something happen in another copy. This is almost in direct violation of what Sean just said. But that's why we're a team. Like, just because you've seen it in another copy, it doesn't mean it's going to work for your copy. So swiping is such a powerful thing, but again, swipe from the right places. Another masterclass product page, a good place to swipe from, because you've seen it, say, in like long copy in, I don't know, say a courses like VSL or something, doesn't necessarily mean it's the best to put it on a product page, because so often, and this is the anecdote I gave the last time we spoke about this. I have run a lot of A/B tests around this thing specifically, which is longer copy, which forces a story or forces like kind of like a narrative like this, and short copy, which is more to the point, I guess, if you want to use that term. I'm not going to go into the nuances of the differences between them, but the main point was this one tried to be a bit longer and tried to kind of draw up this, this build up, and this one was more about kind of the benefits immediately. And because of the products that I was writing for, particularly in the SaaS and e-commerce space, this shorter one, always wins every single time. Like, always wins. I'm not saying that's the case for all copy, but I'm saying that so often trying to be more, have more respect for the reader's time by showing them like, hey, these are the benefits that you're going to get because I know you care about these things, leads to far better results than saying I'm going to spin this story out for no reason other than I've seen other people do it. Was that good advice, Sean?
I think it was good advice, because here's the thing. Long copy, it's not a prescription. Just because copy should be long doesn't mean it needs to be needlessly long. Copy should be long if it will benefit from being long. And usually, why does copy need to be long? Because there are a lot of objections. Well, let's look at this again. Successful page. This is about a 1 page of copy. That's it. That's really all you need. And so let's look at the actual story. You don't need to be a master of persuasion to be an in-demand e-commerce copywriter. All you need to do is make it easy for customers to say yes to buying something they already know they want. It's very direct. It's jumping straight to the point. It's telling you like what this is all about. It's very relevant. It's very pertinent to what's going on. And it makes the process of learning how to do this feel easy. All of that's happening in 2 lines. And so one of the things that this has happened a few times where I've seen a junior submit long form copy, like 10,000 words of copy to a senior. And the expectation in financial long form direct response copy is that the copy is going to be long. Like when you're talking about an idea, when you're making a sales argument, when you're overcoming a ton of objections, guess what? The copy is just naturally going to be longer because there's just more proof to talk about. But in both of those instances, one of the things that the seniors did was they kicked the copy back and they said, listen, there's a lot here that isn't actually supporting the sales argument. There's a lot here that you can cut without really risking the conversion. That is the sale. And so many times, if you are a newbie in the long form direct response world, you'll submit what you think is good copy. Oh, it's long. I wrote many things. There are a lot of words in here. Seniors are not looking for long as one of their check boxes. They're looking for long if it makes sense for it to be long and is more persuasive as a result of that. And so as you can see here, you don't need a lot of space to really just jump right in to what you're talking about, what you're trying to sell. Same thing here. You don't need that. Like, this feels almost like an infomercial buildup. Like, you can imagine like the studio, like the camera is sort of like panning in, and like you have like a dude in like a green suit that's made of like, I don't know, corduroy or felt or something like that. And he's just saying, does your copy suck? Have you spent time and money? Listen,
Does
once
this happen to you? Yeah.
has this ever happened to you?
Yeah.
And then it flashes to like stock image of like a mom who's doing a very simple, like everyday mundane task, but she's struggling with it for some reason. Yeah. Like we've all seen those infomercials, and obviously they work for those contexts. But here for this product page, I don't think that would work, because for a product page, people are coming here already with some foreknowledge of what they're clicking on to. And that's the point that I really want to make there, which is, when it comes down to it, you really need to look at, like, are you delivering this idea? Are you approaching this in the correct way? Is your angle of approach correct? And that's the first thing that you have to figure out as a copywriter. And oftentimes you can only figure that out once you've written the copy. And once some bald schmuck in Baltimore looks at it and goes like, this ain't it, fam. So
yeah, I agree. I'm gonna bolt on this one now.
Okay. Do you have time for one more, or do you want to call it?
I will give you 6 more minutes of my time.
Oh, geez Louise.
Then I'll leave on a 10, because that
Okay.
feels better than just leaving at an 04.
Well, lucky for you, I think we only have 2 of these left to review. I'll go for the one that we have not kicked back yet.
We can review both, and we've only got 2 left, as long as we're relatively quick.
That was so disdainful. Hold on. James, I think my confusion comes down to understanding stages of awareness. Well, I am currently working on a really I'm being a tryhard, and I'm putting too much work for a masterclass about the stages of awareness. So please, where is this confusion coming from?
We should have something planned for when we need to ask people questions, because typing isn't quick. We should tell a little anecdote.
How was your day?
Yeah, it was good. Currently deciding if we should buy a new bed. Get a Super King, which is cool. Not quite an Emperor, but it's it's a Super King.
I have a king size bed, and it is delightful. I recommend the Helix, sleep system. It's really good.
Is that the mattress? Because we're looking at something called Temper, which I assume is like the same thing. It's like a vague, like misspelt word that sounds all like comforty.
Has the umlaut over the U.
Yeah, and and then it has like 9 layers, and it looks like hexagons and sponge, and you're like, ooh, that must be good.
It's I have not slept on a Tempur-Pedic or Temper bed. I do recommend Helix. It's pretty good.
Helix beds. I wonder if they do them in the UK. Helix bed.
What's cool about them is that they will actually mail it to you, and like the mattress is all squished up into like like an airtight roll.
Oh yeah, we have one of those. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like slowly air comes into it, and it kind of goes like, Helix. I don't know if we have these in the UK. We have Emma. There's so many. Yeah, I think these might just be US only. Yeah, it's like gonna be like $2,000 for a mattress. Oh, okay, they've replied.
It's not thinking the awareness of if they are closer to finding the product and being stuck in problem solution stage.
I'm having trouble deciphering that.
Yeah. It is not thinking the awareness of if they are closer to finding the product and being stuck in problem. I think okay, let me see if I can decipher this. James, are you trying to say that you think that you are writing for one particular stage of awareness and you feel like you need to bring them to like a more aware stage in your copy. Is that what you're trying to say? I'm stuck in the problem aware stage. Got it. Okay, so for those of you who managed to make it this far, here's a quick synopsis of the Eugene Schwartz's stages of awareness. It is a heuristic. It is not the law of the land. It is simply meant to be a useful tool for helping you write to humans, to human people, because it operates under the simple presumption that, Alex, are you ready for this? I'm going to blow your mind right now.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Different people know different things.
No. No, 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 no.
Okay, so
I'm back, don't worry.
okay, so and basically what Eugene Schwartz was saying with these stages of awareness was that, okay, if people know different stuff than other people, well, it makes sense to write to them differently, right? Like, for example, if you have an ad on Facebook that's just like, squibbly booches, $38. How many people, all 27 people in the chat right now, like, you're going to look at that ad and be like, what in the ever-loving fuck is a squibbly booch? I'm just going to keep doom scrolling. I want more stuff about climate change or whatever it is you people do. I don't know how social media works. So basically what has happened there is that you don't know, you are not aware of a squibbly booch. You know, so you're obviously not most aware. So you're not a buyer of that business. You are not product aware. You are unfamiliar with the squibbly booch brand. You're not solution aware because you don't know what a squibbly booch does or how it compares to other solutions to whatever problem a squibbly booch solves. You're not problem. We can just go down the line. You're fully unaware of squibbly booches. So for that reason, the fact that it's been discounted to $38 has absolutely no rhetorical appeal to you whatsoever. It is complete nonsense to you. It is a thing to ignore. What is it they said in Westworld? It doesn't look like anything to me at all. So anyway, different example. Say, for example, that you have a severe problem with butt pimples. Your ass just looks like the surface of the fucking moon. You have just massive, just gaping sores from all the butt pimples you've been popping. Oh man, you are just ridden with butt pimples. And you've tried everything. You've tried every cream, every salve. You've tried a poultice. You've tried lancing. You've done the weird thing where you have the leg up like over your sink and you're like using your phone to like look up into your butt to like pop the pimple. You know, has that ever happened to you?
Okay. Sean, has this happened to you?
Everything, and your butt pimples just won't go away. You're aware that you have a butt pimple problem. You're also aware that you've tried other solutions. You're solution aware. So all of a sudden, you are going through Facebook, you're doom scrolling about, I don't know, the conflict in Ukraine or Gaza or something like that. And you stumble across an ad and it's just like, you know, brand new butt pimple cream, proven to treat even the most resistant of butt pimples. You have just written copy. The person who wrote that Facebook ad copy wrote specifically for somebody who's going to be solution aware. You've articulated the words in such a way to make your product, the butt pimple cream, stand out from other butt pimple creams. And that only works because for a person that is aware of the fact that they have a butt pimple problem and are aware of other butt pimple solutions. So what you have just done is write copy for a solution aware audience. Now, the reason I'm bringing all of this up is because James feels like he's stuck in the problem aware stage. Now, here's the thing. Most of the people that are arriving at a product page for a business, more or less generally, are always going to fall on the three more aware sides of the spectrum. The problem aware and unaware stage I would say that 95 to 97% of copywriters will never, ever, 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 ever write copy for. Never. The reason why is because most businesses have no interest in going for those demographics. It's harder, it's more expensive, it's just simply harder to come up with brand new ideas and brand new products that reach people in a completely novel and new way. Full stop. So, all of that is to say is that for the vast majority of people that have managed to make it through my butt pimple spiel, you are going to be writing mainly for people that are most aware, that is people who have already bought from a business, people that are product aware, that is people that are like aware that this product exists but have not bought yet, or solution aware, people that know that there are other classes and other courses about storytelling out there, other books, and just need a reason to buy this one and not those ones. That's the logic of the stages of awareness and applying it strategically to your pages. Now, Alex and I have disagreed about the stages of awareness more or less, but I'll just leave it at that. We can have that debate later on. But this, I think, was very succinct. Each stage is like a different bait on your fishing rod. Absolutely. And one of the things that you want to consider, especially if you are writing for somebody who's solution aware, writing a product page for somebody, is very simply that, like, listen, the people that are arriving at a product page, like, chances are they're not getting there from a PPC ad. Or if they are coming there from a PPC ad, it's like a picture of a necklace, and you know what you're going to. They are already at least solution aware or more aware. And that is what you want to keep in mind when you're writing these product pages. And so you can be very direct. You can speak very succinctly and very concisely about like what the thing is. You don't have to hide it. You can build intrigue without hiding stuff. That's a different skill altogether. But if you're writing for a solution aware audience, the persuasive tactics you need to employ or deploy are just different than if you're writing for a problem aware audience. You don't need to like spell out the problem that every copywriter is having vis-a-vis a lack of storytelling. No. That's not what that's not going to help you. So, Alex, do you feel like that was a succinct description or answer?
Succinct, I'm not sure. I think it was a well put together answer. And yeah, I ultimately, yeah, I think we disagree on the usefulness of stages of awareness when one is beginning a copywriting career. I think we agree on the implications and the definitions of the stages of awareness. And I think you've explained it very well there.
James,
yeah.
I'm glad that you managed to make it through my butt pimple spiel. So I mean, if we're going to have this very quick debate, I am very much, because I taught for so long. I taught for a very long time. And one of the things that I realized was that if you just give everybody like all the bits of information, like all the tools, all the trades, like for example, like if you're teaching an astronomy 101 class and the first thing that you do on the very first day is talk about like how to calculate the Lagrangian points between a 3-body system. The first thing that you're going to do in that astronomy 101 class is drop the fuck out, because what does that even mean? And so my big issue with the stages of awareness is like, it's teaching people a relatively unintuitive process. Like, it's intuitive to understand, like, yeah, different people know different stuff, but it's not intuitive to understand like the gradations of that and how to speak differently for each one of those. And that's not useful to know when most people are just going to be writing for people that are like most aware or solution aware for almost every job that they ever do.
See, so my rebuttal to that and where I come from is that I think it's a super eye-opening way to introduce people to like the power of copywriting. And everyone who, first of all, I experienced this personally, and then people who I've mentored and have gone through my video and stuff have said like, God damn, like that makes things make so much more sense. I think where I went wrong in my 5-hour video when I explained the stages of awareness is I was purely thinking at it. I wasn't thinking about that video like copy. I was thinking about that video like, how can I get the most information across to people in the shortest space of time so that it's super useful and they'll have something forever. And I wasn't thinking about like the questions that then come from the 5 stages of awareness. And what I should have done is I should have said, look, I should have prefaced it with saying, hey guys, this is a really, really useful way for you to understand like how people's minds work, and to show you the power of what good copy can do and what most businesses aren't even thinking about. However, don't get caught up in absolutely identifying every single time before you write every single thing what specific stage someone is in and if you should write in a very specific way. Just see it as some guiding lights around how you should start thinking about marketing and start thinking, as our friend in the chat put, about different baits for different fishing rods. Yeah. And I should have then suffixed it with the point around the most important things that the things you're probably gonna write for in the solution stage, in the solution aware stage, and in the most aware stage. Like that's what you're probably gonna write for. So that's where you need to have the most focus. But I still think it's important that people do it because to me it was the eye-opening thing about like, oh right, I need to think about who I'm talking to first, and I don't think there's a better way of getting that across than the 5 stages of awareness.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I guess
that's my bomb.
The only listen, because you and I are disagreeing about gradations. We agree in principle that it's a useful concept. Mm-hmm. My sticking point is like when you're just starting out and like for real, you're getting your first gig and you're getting $10 to write a few headlines for a squeeze page that they're testing. Like what do you need to know about the stages of awareness to really do a good job there? You don't need to know the 5 stages of awareness. What you need to know is this going to customers or people who are aware of the business or not? It's more Boolean than a 5-stage gradation. And so what you really should do, I guess, in that situation as a beginner, and maybe you and I can like in the new masterclass that we're working on have different spiels like, listen, if this 5 stages awareness thing is just too much, if it's too confusing, all you need to do is focus on this simple question, which is, have they purchased and are they aware of the business or are they not? And if they're not, then you need to ask yourself, well, how aware of other products are they? And that gives you all of everything that you need to sort of suss out before you start writing for the vast majority of copy jobs.
Yeah, I think it's how it's framed. I view it as a Kuzgesagt video, like where they will go into the specifics, and at the end they'll be like, basically, just think of it like, you know, a ping pong ball entering like the sun or something like that, right? Like, and I think that's how I would reframe it if and when we do it again in like the copywriting video. Is I would say like, you guys should know what people mean when they say stages of awareness, and here are examples of things written in different stages of awareness, but you don't need to worry about the stage of awareness to such a big degree. Like that is how I would reframe it.
Yeah, again, like you said, I don't think people need to worry about it that much. I think people hyper focus on it. I think people stress out about it. You know, this person's saying that it's even more confusing because now I have to move people along it, and it's like, no, you don't. You don't actually.
And that's one of the things I do say in the 5-hour video is I say like, you know, you can get someone from this stage to this stage in a very, very short space of time. Don't think it has to be like, oh, there's one step and then this step and then this step and then this step. So maybe on balance it does more harm than good. I definitely think it's something that should be shown but protected from newbies when using it. Yeah.
Like I said, you know, like Astronomy 101, like talk about orbital mechanics, but don't get into calculating the actual like dynamism, the Lagrange points. Like you don't need tensor mathematics when you're an introductory astronomy student. Like you just don't. And so for me, like stages of awareness is like, all right, you've been doing this for a while. You sort of like hit a wall or a ceiling of like earnings. You're just tired of writing like the same like thing, like, hey, $38 deal for squibbly spooges. Like, okay, you're ready to move on. Like, that's when that concept actually becomes very useful and profitable, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's probably where we differ. I think showing it to begin with, I don't view it the same way as you think it's a really complicated thing. I think it's really simple. I think when you get into the weeds of using it, it becomes complicated. I think, yeah, this is like how to use the old blood of Yharnam, and you're kind of like Master Willem, and I'm kind of like Lawrence, and I'm like, now we can use it. We just don't need to. We just shouldn't fuck with it too much. And that doesn't end well for either of them. So yeah. Anyway, and on that note,
fucking dorks.
Yeah. All right.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, listen. On this, I'm probably going to defer to you because I think that my position is probably more iconoclastic than not. The only request that I have is when we do eventually do a big grand thing about the stages of awareness, that I get to reuse my really gross, overly long analogy about butt pimples.
Of course.
Thank you.
I wouldn't like that. I think when we can make it super simple, like that's what makes it good, right?
Oh yeah, I'm not even going to start describing the smell.
I don't. Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks. Is that because of the area it's in, or is it because of the pimples themselves? Like, I've never had them, and I don't try to lord that over you as a hey, I'm better than you. It's just a fact.
Well, I mean, I have a hairy ass, and so, like pimples and ingrown hairs are just part of the territory, but mine is not nearly as pimply as this one girl that I knew.
Oh, go on.
She was really into Nine Inch Nails. And she was so upset with me. Like, I love the band Nine Inch Nails, but I make fun of things that I like. And she got real upset with me. Anyway, apparently she had Buttony. So,
oh, Buttony.
Yeah.
Do you have chutney in America?
Is that a different kind of acne?
No, chutney is a.
Yes, I know what chutney is.
Okay. Dude. I don't know. I don't know what you have in that strange land, but you've just put the term Buttony chutney in my head, which I'll definitely be thinking about. We hit the 2 hour mark.
Can we rekindle the Alex Ecom adventure, but have it be the Alex and Sean Ecom adventure, but we're just selling butt-related products?
Buttony chutney?
Buttony chutney.
Yes. Oh, God. Seriously. I mean, actually, I don't want to promise this again, and I'm not going to promise it. I never did promise it, but, I theoretically should be... Yeah, that's chutney. It's like an Indian sauce dip. Romance... No, I am reading that. Is a spread.
Ground garnish, yogurt. Yeah, it's just a spread.
And spread is kind of related to arse as well.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that I do kind of want to restart the ecom adventure when I have time, which theoretically, when I move, I should, because I'm moving what will be, in effect, 45 minutes closer to my office. So I will save 1 to 2 hours a day commuting. So I'll do more. I'll do more for copy that in some way.
Yeah. Dude, just do more for yourself. Like that commute you've been on has been brutal. I know that for a fact. That has a toll that I don't think a lot of people talk about. Past the 2 hour mark, by the way, everybody watching, that's when copy that typically goes off the rails. I will say this though, Alex, you and I have talked about doing an ecom thing together for a long time, and I've just been so busy and you've been so busy. But I will say that of everything, I really just want to make really, really dumb novelty products that people never even realized that they wanted. But there's a Buttony chutney, that has to exist. Having an umbrella that's so big that it actually goes down to your waist, and it has a little plastic porthole, in it so that you can see and be entirely enclosed in an umbrella. That's just genius.
I agree. And we could do themed ones like the Among Us characters. 'Cause
Yeah,
that would work in that
yeah.
umbrella. I mean,
Brilliant.
I'm not even gonna reveal it on stream because it's such a good idea that someone will steal it. But
Oh.
the idea that we discussed, no, we discussed this. The idea we discussed, it must have been like, I don't know, a couple months ago, a few weeks ago, I can't remember.
I think I know what you're talking about.
The strong one, like that
Yeah.
doesn't give it away. Yeah, like I so want to do that because it actually excites me and it just gives the chance to write fun copy, and like that's what I want to do more of in my life is write fun copy.
Yeah. I was in Nashville a few days ago, interviewing Daniel Throssell and Stephen Young and Tanya Yo, and just meeting with like a bunch of other copywriters that were there for Copy Chief Life. And I bounced before that even started. But one of the things that people asked me, they were like, Sean, why are you here? Like, why did you come out here just for this? And I was like, at this point in my career, I'm kind of side questing.
You've over leveled, and now the story isn't interesting enough because it's too easy.
Yeah.
So you may as well do the fun stuff that you don't have to do.
Yeah. I honestly, God, that's kind of how I play RPGs too, which is just like, the main story, that can wait. I'm just going to venture off over here and like find Yuffie and take her to Wutan or something like that. That was a Final Fantasy VII reference for you. Oh yeah.
Nerds.
Shall we read some copy and then call it a night?
Yeah, really quick though, because I should have gone like 20 minutes ago.
Oh my God.
Because I actually have so much stuff that I need to do before I go to bed.
I am working on a 15,000 word report that I need to submit tonight. So.
Oh Christ. Okay, let's do this really quick. Can we?
Cash conveyor belt. Yeah. Huh? What?
I was gonna say, should we limit this to 6 sentences each of review?
Okay. So business owners will pay $signs for anyone who can automate their sales process. And if you're an advanced copywriter who can engineer profitable email sequences, you're in the mad money zone. Interesting. Jim Cramer might sue us for that. This masterclass will teach you how to produce profitable email sequences that you can charge your clients hundreds, if not thousands for, including the $1 million webinar email sequence of victory. That's a joke that I slipped into that masterclass. Learn the process behind Sean's unique sequence that earned over $1 million for his client. Actually, my employer, but I don't think that matters. Swipe everything he's learned about webinars, funnels, and sequences from one image. I did graph it all out. That is there. Master the most terrifying and profitable email sequence. It's less common, more complicated, and way harder to understand conceptually. I don't know if that's a selling point.
No way.
But when you understand this 2-word logic, you can start charging mad $signs. I, of course, was talking about behavioral marketing. The 2-word logic that is being referred to there, just to spoil the intrigue for anybody who might be thinking about buying my Cash Conveyor Belt Masterclass, is if then. So if customer does X, then show them Y. Or if customer doesn't do X, then show them Z. And that is how you can build out a behavioral automated email sequence. And I talk about conceptually how to do that. I don't know if that makes the strongest bullet. The number one way to charge your clients more for your sequences, offer to write 3 commonly forgotten email sequences for more money. I just to spoil it for you all, it's abandoned cart sequences, it's re-engagement sequences, and there was one more, maybe a promo abandon. There was one other that all have been tested and proven to make a lot more money and add to cart value. What do you think of this beginner bit?
So this was submitted last time when I did it on my own. So I reviewed this one, and they have gone back and they've changed things. I have to say, like, I can tell here that you have not deleted it and started again from like using the advice I gave. You have just kind of remashed words together and moved things up and down. And like, this is going to be a lesson in rewriting. If I gave you that advice from last week or the other week, whenever it was, and you came back to me with this, I'd be disappointed, because to me, this is pretty much saying the same kind of things, just in a slightly different way. I remember very clearly, for example, saying to you that one of the things you need to be clear on is, are you writing this for an existing copywriter who like is trying to level up their earning potential? In which case, I think that third bullet down there, like the number one way to charge your clients more for your sequences, like if they're already writing sequences, like great, because that makes a lot more sense, and that I'm going to be super interested in that. But if you're writing this for someone who doesn't write sequences yet, then you need to lean more into like, hey, here's the trick that's gonna put you into that mad money zone that you're calling it, right? And I can see you're still fighting those 2 points. They're still clashing for the attention here. So not only have you not really deleted and kind of come up with a new frame for this, the kind of biggest sin that I pointed out last time is still happening. And yeah, so like that's my, unfortunately, that's my honest reaction to this. Is it doesn't feel like you've come to me with new copy. It feels like you've come to me with copy that you've kind of like taken apart and then mashed back together.
Yeah.
Delete the page and write it again. Note and plan it. Note some things down based on the advice that I gave you last week, and then write something new. Do not use the copy you've already written.
I wanna show you guys and illustrate something for you all that every single person watching this now or in the future needs to learn, because this is going to be what separates you from a professional. I'm going to present. I'm going to stop my screen. I'm going to present what I was just talking about, which was the actual report that I'm working on. Look at this. This is 6,120 words, 24 pages that I've written. Control A, delete, save.
Oh.
Close.
You gotta kill your babies.
You gotta kill your babies, man. Like seriously, like if you cannot just without hesitation delete the things that you worked for hours on, you're not a good copywriter. You're not going to make it.
And something I mentioned earlier, right? The script that I've been making for these free courses we're doing, right? So the one that I'm championing, which is about outreach. I mean, Sean, I think you've seen a couple of variations of it, or like parts of it, and I've said to you, you know, I've deleted that like 6 times. I've deleted the one that I then told you about like 2 more times, like big sections of it. I deleted the actual thing where I got, you know, I was getting to like kind of 1,000 words or, you know, 2,000-3,000 words, and I just deleted it because I was like, no, this isn't right. It's not right. You have to get used to that. You have to. Because I can tell you, if you feel like something isn't working, the worst thing you can do is try to make it work. That's the worst thing you can do. Don't try to make it work. Delete it. Go down a new path.
Yeah. And I often tell the story of like Porter Stansbury when he was first learning how to write copy, which is his first sales letter, like he wrote it all by hand on legal pad. And like he would take it to Mark Ford and he'd be like, what do you think? He'd be like, this is trash. There's no editing. There's no tweaking the words there. You get a new legal pad and you start writing again. He did that 27 times before he finally wound up with what ended up being his first breakout sales letter. And so like when we are talking about revision, we are not talking about like tweaking some language. We are talking about literally what the word means, seeing it completely anew. And there is no easier way to see something completely anew than to start over.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is great relationship advice. Just Control A, delete the relationship, move on.
I think that can get you in prison.
Oh my goodness. Anyway,
okay.
Yeah, we do have like one other thing to look at, but I leave that up to you. We don't have to.
I am gonna go because I now see it's past the half past mark of the hour, and I do actually have a lot to do before tomorrow.
Yeah, I have a lot more writing to do now.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, the last person. I don't know if you're taking it, Sean, or we're both leaving.
We should probably we will revisit this,
Yeah.
and we will come back to it. We will do more of this, though. It might be you and Rod, and maybe you and Lindsey, or maybe just Lindsey and Rod, or maybe just one of the three of you. Because for the next month, I'm going to be in Florida.
He's going to Florida. He's going where you're going from the one place, like the one state where a load of direct response financial copywriters are, to the other state where a bunch of financial direct response copywriters are.
Might be a reason for that.
You don't like living in nice places?
Yes, that is correct.
Is that it?
Yeah, it is weird how they have sort of accumulated, but that really is just a sort of byproduct of like the people that were involved in those businesses in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And they just happened to move to specific places, and then businesses sort of sprung up around them. So
did I tell you really quickly? I went to this event the other month, and one of the speakers, so Mark Ford was there, obviously headlining, keynoting, and one of the speakers before him went up. And she basically said, she was talking about like how she gets like trolled on LinkedIn and stuff, and like, you know, how she gets kind of talked down to and stuff by certain people. And she said she's like my nemesis is like the old white man who lives in Florida. She's like, that is my nemesis. And like Mark Ford was like next up, and I was just like, oh, that is a hilarious time to bring out a sweeping generalization. When the keynote speaker of this event is an old white man who lives in Florida.
Was there egg on her face?
I think there was. I don't know if she knew, but I mean, I think she must have known Mark Ford was doing it. She was lovely though, and it was a very interesting, compelling talk.
I actually have a similar Mark Ford story.
Tell it quickly. Tell it quickly.
Do you know? Are you familiar with this like tech entrepreneur guy, the man trying to live forever?
Oh yeah, the one who like he wants to look younger than his son.
Yeah,
like,
Brian Johnson. So he's like getting like plasma infusions from his son. He's like sleeping, like he has like a red light cap. He takes 111 like pills per day, things like that. Old. So I made a Facebook post about this because basically Brian Johnson is like the living embodiment of a character from a novel called Super Sad True Love Story by an author named Gary Steingart. And I am almost positive that nobody watching this has ever heard of this novel. And I was almost positive that nobody in my friend group had ever read this freaking book. But basically, there's a character in that novel that is doing exactly what this dude is doing. Like 10, 15 years before this Brian Johnson dude is trying to like live forever and steal his son's blood or whatever. That whole concept of trying to live forever because you're a rich asshole, that was satirized by Gary Steingart. And I posted about this and I was like, everybody, I give you an assignment. Go read that novel so you can understand what the fuck I'm actually talking about. The only person who's read that book in my friend group was Mark Ford. And he said, but it's funny because I am a rich, and he just sort of trailed off like ... in the comment.
That's great. I love that. I hope he lives forever.
Yeah, me too. But also like, you know, nothing is beautiful because it lasts forever. So
yeah, but he is okay. I'm not all right. Anyway, he's beautiful, man. I don't want to get too soppy. I'm gonna go. I'm afraid. If we didn't get to your copy, we will see it next one.
I will tell an Evaldo story next time on the next thrilling adventure of What's the Wednesday?
Master Willem and Lawrence. Which I forgot. I've just looked at those again, and yeah.
Terrible.
I think you said iconoclastic, and that's why I put Catholic. But I can't remember. And subsequently, I guess, put Protestant because those two are always about. See you, Sean. Bye, everyone.
This is the worst end to this show.
I've got to go and do so much shit. I'm so... Okay.
Bye. Good luck.
See you guys. Have fun.
Everybody, I love you. Good luck. Write more gooder.
Write good.
Please. for my insanity's
Patreon.com
sake.
/ copywriting. That's not even it.
/ copywriting. That's our new URL. It's just just type into your browser / copywriting, and you will just instantly go to all of our stuff.
We've just pushed about half a person to a random business's Patreon.
Copy that, where you have to understand that irony exists.
Yeah. I can't think of jokes anymore. I'm too tired. Night, guys.
Good night. And good night, everybody.
Bye. End stream.